Welcome, everyone. Thank you very much for attending today. My name is Craig Lesurf. I'm president of Gillum Group. I also chair the League of Champions and the OGCA Safety Committee, and involved in a number of different initiatives. So we're here to celebrate the inaugural Occupational Safety and Health Day in Ontario. It was a recent bill that was passed last week, which you may have heard in the chatter. We were talking about the timelines to get this out, but today it is. Today's the day. And may the 4th be with you. I said I wasn't going to say that, but I had to do it. And I think this is a great day. It's following on the heels of what was last week, which is the day of mourning, which was April 28th, which is a retrospective day. And today is more about celebration of and education. It's about talking about the future, and it's talking about things on a positive go forward basis. Our ultimate goal is zero injuries and zero accidents in our workplace, and most certainly zero fatalities. And we have to do something about it. And the only way to do that is to create days and awareness and talk about safety. And, this week is on the heels of Safety Week, which is a nationally North American occupational health and safety is a big deal. And this Safety Week is a big part of it. And so the second Tuesday going forward is proclaimed to be Occupational Safety and Health Day in Ontario. And we're going to hear from the person who put that forward in a bit. But I just wanted to talk about that. One of the things I wanted to talk about is a quick safety moment. And, we like to start all meetings with a safety moment. And my safety moment is going to focus around our Safety Week. And Safety Week this year, we've decided to focus on is fit for duty. And being fit for duty is important to everyone. You have to come to the workplace ready to work and able to work on many levels. And fit for duty, we're focusing on a be present, be focused, be safe campaign. And on it for Fit for Duty, there's really 4 states of Fit for Duty. Everybody thinks Fit for Duty means no alcohol and drugs or impairment. That's wrong. That's simply wrong. There's 4 states for Fit for Duty, and that has to do with your mental state, your physical, your emotional, and your competency. You have to have all 4 to actually be ready and fit for duty. And there's lots of industries out there. And remember, this day isn't about construction. I'm in construction, but many people are not. And it's about industries that put people at risk and in harm's way. And so you want to make sure that everybody's got their wits about them and that they're safe every day, because that's our objective. So what we wanted to do is sort of end this and get going. I want to introduce Rob Ellis of My Safe Work. Rob is the president, and Rob's got a great story to tell, and Rob's a good friend of myself and others. And Rob, over to you.
Thanks so much, Craig, for this invitation this morning. It's a great opportunity to follow in your footsteps. Craig, you're a great leader, and you always challenge leaders to get better. So I just want to thank you for the invitation to be able to celebrate with you today. I'm celebrating with friends, and I'm celebrating with great Canadians across our province. I want to first congratulate the amazing visionary leadership of Member of Parliament Jane McKenna. Wow, you are simply amazing, and we are really, all of us are really proud for your visionary approach to creating the Occupational Safety and Health Day. This is going to really make a big difference. This is going to be a cornerstone for many years to come. So I'm very excited, and I want to thank you again, Jane, for being such a great visionary and creator. 21 years ago, our family lost our 18-year-old son, David, in a workplace incident. And since that devastating day, we have been totally surrounded by incredible leaders like Craig and like many of the leaders that are speaking here today. And many of these leaders have come with us across Ontario, and they've shared their knowledge, and they've really impacted the future leaders of our province with their experience and workplace knowledge. They've transferred that knowledge and built a bridge to these young leaders who are coming from colleges and universities and high schools across our great province. And we have discovered that there's a really high demand for workplace safety knowledge. And that is very exciting because there's a huge momentum going forward as we've created this Occupational Safety and Health Day. So the exciting news is that with the creation of the Occupational Safety and Health Day, we can now invite all industry leaders. As Craig mentioned this morning, he's from the construction leader, from the construction industry, but we need all leaders to be on board with this so that they can join together. They can pool their knowledge and share their expertise with each other. And I think that that's exactly what Craig has really been pointing out and really wants to create going forward. But my challenge is today to every one of the industry leaders, will we be bold enough to extend an invitation to the next generation of innovative thinkers? Will we be bold enough to extend an invitation to young entrepreneurs starting their own businesses? Will we be bold enough to extend invitations to newcomers to Canada? Will we be bold enough to extend invitations to the Indigenous community members? Will we be bold enough to extend invitations to college, trades, and apprentices, graduates? Will we be bold enough to extend invitations to engineers and commerce graduates from universities? Imagine what an amazing day it will be next year when we will have two generations of great leaders building a safer, more productive, and prosperous Ontario together. What an incredible future we have. What an incredible force we have going forward. Thank you so much, Greg, for this invitation to speak to you and to all the leaders in Ontario. You're amazing. You're an amazing guy, and thank you so much, Jane McKenna, for your creation of this very important day. And that's it, Craig.
And now over to our the person.
So all right, Craig. Craig, you mentioned to me last night that I would like to I'd like to the honor of introducing Member of Parliament Jane McKenna. I have to say this. When we are in the presence of a visionary Canadian leader, the world will be different, and our world has changed because of the visionary leadership of Jane McKenna. Jane McKenna is from Burlington, and I know great things come from Burlington. I used to be a lifelong resident of Burlington myself. So Jane is the parliamentary assistant to the Minister of Labor, Training, and Skills and Development. So Jane, we are very proud of you this morning. We are all on board with you. We're trying to catch up to you, and we thank you so much for your tremendous leadership in creating this a very important day of Occupational Safety and Health Day. So I'll turn it over to you.
Thank you so much, Rob. I want to start by saying what an inspiration you've been to me and my team, and to all of us at the Ministry of Labor, Training, and Skills Development. After losing your son, 18 years old, in a workplace accident in 1999, Rob became an outspoken advocate for health, safety, and wellness. Rob inspired the League of Champions, which for the past 6 years has empowered leaders in the construction industry to be healthy and safety champions. He also does a yearly courageous video on YouTube for the National Day of Mourning. This video educates young people on the right to refuse unsafe work, how to recognize a bad employer, and the importance of speaking out for others. Thank you, Rob, for all that you are doing to shine a spotlight on the importance of workplace safety. And I'd just like to interject before I continue on. We have a responsibility to continue the conversation with the knowledge that you people have. And you people have really been my extended family putting this together, because we all work together to make sure that people go to work and come home safe. Today in Canada, there will likely be 5 workplace fatalities. And the most common workplace accidents causing death are slips and falls, motor vehicle accidents, trips and falls from heights, and being crushed or stuck by machinery. While the health and safety system pays special attention to these workplace hazards, there are still about 15.5 cases of work-related injuries per 1,000 people employed in Canada. We must do better. I'll never forget the article by Moor Welsh in the Toronto Star back in 2002. It told the story of a young 19-year-old Wilfrid Laurier student from Sault Ste. Marie, Lewis Whelan. Lewis was back home in the Sioux after finishing his first year of university. It was May 2001, and Lewis had what seemed like a great job for the summer, $10 an hour cutting overgrown trees near Great Lakes power lines. He showed up for work wearing a new pair of safety boots, a friend's safety goggles, and his dad's yellow hard hat. All that wasn't enough to protect him from what happened 1 hour into his second day on the job when a 7,200 volt power line fell across his body. As a result, he lost 2 legs, his right arm, and his right shoulder. Sadly, Lewis passed away in 2003 during the Northeast blackout. We owe it to Lewis, to Rob's son Dave, and to every young worker injured or killed at work to do more to protect young people entering the workplace. As a mother of 5, the stories of Dave Ellis, Lewis Whelan, and so many other young workers killed on the job was my motivation for Bill 152, the Occupational Safety and Health Day Act. I started work on this bill in the spring of 2019 and consulting with workers, employers, union leaders, health and safety experts. There was universal support for the idea of a yearly Occupational Safety and Health Day to promote health and safety by highlighting the roles and responsibilities of employers, supervisors, and workers to support and nurture a health and safety culture every day in every workplace. Over the past 2 years, I've been very fortunate to work with and receive tremendous support from this legislation from so many people and organizations. The people of Canadian Registered Safety Professionals, a not-for-profit federally incorporated association that sets the certification standards for the occupation's health and safety profession, has been on side from the very beginning. Monica Sabo, chair of their governing board, and Nikki Wright, the executive director, told me early on that having an Occupational Safety and Health Day would highlight the imperative to ensure strong preventative measures and oversight are in place and respected at all workplaces. They felt that this was a much needed step to help prevent workplace incidents and injuries here in Ontario. Another strong supporter from the very start has been the Ontario General Contractors Association. I want to thank David Frame for his continued support on this legislation. I also want to thank Laborers International Union of North America and Joe Mancinelli, the International Vice President and Regional Manager. LIUNA has one of the best continuing education programs for the workers in North America, and their commitment to health and safety is industry leading. A special thanks to a few of the many health and safety training providers who've been tremendous advocates for this Occupational Safety and Health Day. Lorraine Kersey-Carter from Rubicon Safety in Burlington, and AJ Bullivant from Bullivant Health and Safety in Stony Creek. Bill 152 received royal assent and became a law a week ago today, which didn't give us much time to pull this event together. I want to thank David Frame and Eric Schmidt from the OGCA and Craig Lesurf from the Gillam Group for all your work on this event. And thank you to all of this morning presenters. This event is a great start for Ontario's first ever Occupational Safety and Health Day. I'm looking forward to working with the Ministry of Labor and with all of you to expand and promote Occupational Safety and Health Day next year. Through the continued efforts of everyone on this webinar today and every day, we will make Ontario's workplace safer for all of us. Thank you so much for letting me be part of this conversation today.
Wow, thank you, Jane. Thank you, Rob. You know, Jane, I'm going to say a special thanks, you know, on behalf of everyone in the industry and all Ontarians. You know, I think it's important. Many of us have loved ones. I think we all do. But, you know, we have kids, we have other people, next generation. Rob, you talked about it. we have to make sure we look after them. And it's important that we all take these steps. So now I'm looking forward to the next year and the year after that, and it's going to get bigger, better, and we'll have more time to prepare. And we're going to do a lot of good things. And what we thought we'd do today was talk and bring in some industry leaders from various industries to talk about health and safety, what it means to them and how it affects them. And so first up on deck here is Tracey Meridian from Eastern Construction. And Tracey's a big safety advocate. I deal with Tracey a lot on my safety committees, and safety is a big thing. So Tracey, over to you. You're on mute. That'll be everybody's t-shirts coming up. You're on mute.
Didn't move that fast. Thanks to all. It's a very humbling experience to be here. To celebrate with all of you. This is a monumental occasion for us. It's long awaited, long overdue, and MPP McKenna for pushing it forward. This is astounding. Today, I'm going to share some personal and professional experience with the industry here, the construction industry, and why this is such a key piece to making some of the much needed changes that we need in the industry here. So I guess stepping back here about a week ago, as mentioned, I received a Judith at the LOC on the day of mourning, which was a very tough day for us at Eastern, which I'll speak to in a moment. And it was very timely. I thought she was calling me maybe to go out for a ride on our motorcycles. The sweepers have been, out on the streets. That wasn't it, but I hope that is coming. But day of mourning was a tougher day than I've ever experienced myself in the industry, as it was for many others last year in Ontario. Because on my watch, we lost a subtrade worker in December on one of our job sites. 2020 with COVID, again, also, it was likely hands down the toughest year in my entire career, in my professional career in the industry. With all the unknowns with COVID, we just tried to lead very strongly with our workers in the fields to keep our workers' attention on the task at hand and stay focused on their safety. It was a very difficult thing to do with all the scares coming from this pandemic. Whether this was part of what happened in mid-December through early January, we suffered loss after loss of our comrades in the industry. It was like we had turned on the tap and we just couldn't turn it off fast enough. There was too many memorials built on our job sites in Ontario. So once again, thank you to MPP McKenna and the industry leaders for their support to push this annual Occupational Health and Safety Day forward. It's a big piece, I believe, to keeping our industry attentive, diligent, proactive versus reactive, active versus passive with safety in these workplaces. Construction. I came to construction. It's a fascinating and challenging career. We work with great talent, great minds, but with it comes inherent risks and high risks in our construction industry. If left unmanaged, if we become complacent, or if complacency sets in, we do not train our workers to the competency that Craig Lesurf speaks to, our risks increase and leaves us open to tragedy, injury, illness. One of the key factors, and I've spoken with Rob Ellis many times, he's really been a mentor to me. I work for a safe employer. And what does a safe employer look like? Well, a safe employer, working for construction, has core values that start foundationally with safety, integrity in the field with their safety, innovation on how we mitigate risk and hazard to these workers, open communication with the workers in the field. It has to trickle up, it has to trickle down. There's an internal responsibility. It involves teamwork and collaboration in the field to keep us safe. So Eastern strives to build strong safety from a foundational block or cornerstone. And we try to build not just long-term relationships with other construction companies and leaders for profit, but we strive to align ourselves with safety engaged subtrades. This is good business. Every build has safety, having safety as its foundation and cornerstone.
You're on mute.
Did it go back? There we go, somehow. So sometimes this involves holding these companies and trades accountable and implementing strong, decisive corrective actions. We don't hesitate to do that. I came to the table today in my high vis. It's the construction industry's universal symbol of safety. I think we all know it well. And I did this out of not disrespect, but respect, and in alliance with all workers on this day, on this inaugural day, for all the high risk work that we put forth in the field. Safety is a choice and should not leave, we should not leave this choice to others or to chance. It might sound like a cliche. I choose not to leave my safety in the hands of others. I don't know, many of you have known me well and known me for many years. I come from the field. I'm now in safety management, and I didn't possibly come to safety management in the way that you would expect. It came from a pivotal day after many days working in the field in water, sewer, and roads. And it was a very trying time in my life, as I was a provider of 2 children in a single parent household. Water, sewer, and roads is a fascinating industry, but it's very tough physically. It's draining. There's a lot to know. You're out on roads with heavy equipment. The hazards are very well known in it. It was a day, this pivotal day I speak to, I was colder, probably wetter, more tired. And the big thing that created the pivot, that I was sick to death of working in unsafe conditions with unsafe crews. High and drunk many days, mainline water and sewer in a residential neighborhood. This just didn't look like a good combination to me anymore in my life. I called the owner, I took off my gear, I put the phones, walkie-talkies, the site level down in the trailer, and I left that day. Tired of dealing with unsafe conditions, being told to keep our mouths shut, and watching most of the long-term employees working for this owner terrified to lose their jobs by speaking up or staying home when they were injured or having to deal with unsafe conditions. So that was my pivotal moment. I chose not to put my safety or the lack of it in anyone else's hands at that point. And I decided to try to make a difference, to educate myself more strongly in what I knew from safety, to go out, seek designations. I had some very great mentors. Patricia Pereira, Canadian, can't strive enough, was one of my strongest mentors. She's well known in the industry, and she's really brought me along throughout working with big GCs. It was a scary time. I didn't know how I was going to feed the kids, but the stress and duress of watching and knowing and being so fearful of the teammates and crews around me, once again, it wasn't worth staying in that position, and I wanted to create that change. So what does a safe workplace looks like? Well, a safe workplace, a safe and healthy workplace looks what Craig has spoken to earlier. We have optimal and complete physical, mental, emotional wellness, and health. So on this day and going forward, each first Tuesday annually, I encourage you all to regroup, refocus, realign, repeat until the day of mourning becomes obsolete. Be present, be focused, be safe, be accountable. Occupational Safety and Health Day is a time to reflect on what is working, what is not, what we can do and what we do need to change. We need to do this to provide the safest and healthiest workplaces that we've ever had here in Ontario before. It'll take all of us together.
Yeah, see, there you go. Awesome message, Tracey. You know what? You said one of the words there that resonates, and I think I'm going to throw another one out there, but choices. We all get choices, and you made the right choice. You did right things, and you had the courage. And that's another word that I think we all need to have the courage to either make the choice ourselves or encourage others to do it. We've been out speaking to schools. We do it post-secondary. Rob's been out. We've go out and talk to them. The right to refuse is huge. And you made the right choice. And congratulations for you. We have another message from Darryl Cooper. Darryl is President and COO of Cooper Equipment and a big advocate for safety. And Darryl, perhaps you want to tell us what it means to you.
Sure. Thanks, Craig and MPP McKenna, Rob, and the rest of the panelists. Thanks for giving me this opportunity to speak about my thoughts on safety. To me, safety is about evolution and continuous improvement. Cooper Equipment's been providing equipment rental services to contractors since 1972. And over the past 50 years, our industry has evolved greatly in equipment technology and health and safety best practices. I'm confident that we as an industry and we as a company are safer today than we were 50 years ago. So when we have an opportunity like National Safety, the National Day of Mourning or Health and Safety Week, it gives us a chance to pause, take stock, and reflect on how we're evolving. Safety, I believe, starts at the top. When a fish rots, it starts at the head. So our heads as executives and leaders must drive the safety culture. We can't just be going along with what the safety teams put in place for us or suggest. The drive for a safe workplace starts with us as leaders, and momentum is maintained by us as leaders. I believe the next step in the evolution of our health and safety system is for safety awareness to become a part of our employers or our employees' core values as individuals. According to the Center for Disease Control, 75% of all accidents are the result of unintentional household injury. I'd like to see a world where our employees take the safety skills that they use at work and apply them to their everyday lives. How many of us wouldn't dream of visiting a roadside job site without wearing a reflective vest, but we take our dog out for a walk with nothing but dark clothing on in the evenings? Or how many of us would never think to go to one of our branches or attend at a job site without wearing safety glasses and safety shoes? And yet on Saturday, we'll cut the grass in our running shoes or flip-flops and string trim the lawn with nothing but sunglasses on, thinking that that's safe enough. From our own company's experience, we currently have a salesman who's been in the Hamilton McMaster Spinal Rehabilitation Center for the last 2 months after falling from a stepladder while accessing the loft in his garage at home. His life's been forever altered. I believe situational awareness needs to become a part of our everyday life, part of our individual core values. And it's up to us as leaders to set that example and to keep it continually front and center in the minds of those around us. Accidents will happen, investigations will take place, lessons will be learned, and new safety measures will be put in place. The industry will move forward and get safer. But we can't forget the trail of destruction that's left behind for the workers and the families who are injured or killed in these accidents. I'm constantly asking my team, are we safer today than we were yesterday? How can we be safer tomorrow than we are today? And I believe that better is good, and I believe that evolution is good. So thanks for letting me share my thoughts with you. Let's keep evolving together. And as Craig says, safety isn't proprietary, so share and share and share all the best practices and all the things that we've learned. Thanks again for letting me share my ideas with you.
Wow, thanks, Darryl. You know what? I got a great piece on situational awareness. I'd love to share with you.
Okay.
So some good stories there, and even some anecdotes that will help tie in for the message. But you're right. We need to be safer tomorrow, but we need to start with it today. So very, very good. We're also next bringing up in health and safety innovation, Alchemist CEO Tyler Davey. Tyler, maybe you could talk to us about your thoughts on safety.
Yeah, for sure. First, I just want to thank Jane McKenna for sponsoring this bill, Rob, Ellis, Craig, Lesurf, for you guys really championing safety. I come from a tech background, a very strong tech background, over 20 years in innovation and technology. And a large part of that innovation and technology has been trying to find ways to create technology and to create solutions that solve problems around the world. And when I joined Alchemist a little while ago, I didn't quite conceptualize how technology could play a role in health and safety and preventing safer outcomes. And then I started thinking about, my own experiences within safety within my family. My stepdad was a truck driver, slipped on a ladder that had grease on it from 2 stories, busted his one knee, ended up getting 2 knee replacements because of it, and a fused back. And my uncle was working at a heavy mechanic. As a heavy mechanic, was working on a battery that, due to static electricity, exploded in his face, and the eye wash station was not working and was blind for 3 weeks. And so when we start thinking about that as a technologist, as a company that works wholly around how do we protect people, we think every day around how we can create technology and use the innovations that are coming to market to help protect workers everywhere. And that's all our people work on every single day. And so when we look at technology, what we get really excited about and what we really think through is how we can learn from everything that we're hearing in the field, from everything that workers are experiencing, from every piece of data that comes to us, how we can take all those inputs, all those insights to protect workers around the world. And what I love about this bill is it forces everyone to pause for a moment and really think to the future of what we can do to make places safer. And Rob, you said it best around taking courage and having courage to go beyond just what this bill's initial intent is. And what we believe to be true is how we can roll something like this and take the leadership that the Ontario government has shown and roll this across the entire country to have everyone safer, everyone experiencing safer outcomes, and everyone taking a moment to think, well, is that workplace safe enough? Is that job site safe enough? Is the conditions that we're working in and operating safe enough? And if it's not, what can we do differently to make it safer? How can we predict disasters or problems before they occur? And if we can do that and we can get to that stage, then we know we can do what we all want, which is to get to 0 incidents across the board. And that's really what drives us every single moment of every day. How do we get to 0? And so I'm humbled to be listening to all these stories. You guys truly are frontline heroes across the board, trying to make your people safer every step of the way. And we enjoy playing a small part in trying to help in that effort to get to 0.
Awesome. Thank you, Tyler. You said predictive. All I could think about was Minority Report, and that, those precogs and, stopping, wiping it out. And it'd be great if we could do that for safety somehow. And utilizing technology, we're certainly going to lever that. But just before, I got a housekeeping thing. We're going to do a photograph at the beginning, but we didn't quite get that together. So I'd like to do it before Jane has to run to the bell. And maybe we could get everybody looking at the camera. Richard? And we'll get everybody up looking at the camera, and we'll just take a quick picture if we could before we lose the moment. Safety. Awesome. Thank you very much for that moment. As I said, just want to make sure we could get a shot. So on next, we have for mining safety and construction safety is from NORCAT, a training agency, is the COO, Jason Bubba. Jason.
Thanks, Craig. I'm so proud to be part of the inaugural Occupational Health and Safety Day here in Ontario. Safety is what we do here at NORCAT for over 25 years, and it really is rooted in our core beliefs. And the mining industry has long been a strong advocate for safety in the workplace, and it really is at the heart of many mining operations here in Ontario. But, mining is not without its dangers. Heavy equipment, operating underground in dark confined spaces or massive open pits with huge gear. But when the work is performed by trained workers who understand how to perform their tasks safely, it's a tremendously rewarding industry to be in and a safe industry to be in. So, why does this declaration of this day, Occupational Health and Safety Day, make a difference? Well, it makes a difference because today we pause. Today we stop and we think about safety. Today we're promoting safety. Today we're reflecting on the responsibilities as government, educators, trainers, corporations, to think about how we can do more. How can we become even better at what we do? At NORCAT, we help international mining companies build health and safety programs. And when I'm talking to these mining companies in jurisdictions around the world, the most common statement they make to me when we start working with them is, we want our standards to meet Ontario regulations and MLTSD training standards. That's what they say. And they say that because we here in Ontario are known around the world as being one of the best when it comes to safety and training. They know that our workplaces are some of the safest anywhere around the world. And we should all be proud of that, because it really does take labor, government, education, and corporations to all work together to achieve this. It takes us, all of us, to maintain a healthy and safe workplace. And we do a lot of great things, but there's still a lot of work that we need to do, because sadly, injuries and deaths still occur. So we need to remain vigilant and continue to improve workplace safety. Now, one of the questions that I get a lot of is, how do I foster a culture of health and safety in the workplace? And my question to them back is usually, well, what do you do to foster that in our youth, our high school kids, college, university? You know, they may not be your employee today, but they are our next generation workforce. And if we teach them now, if they grow up learning how to perform work safely, if they don't learn those bad habits and they grow understanding their rights and responsibilities, then we're fostering that culture of health and safety where we really should. You know, we work with over 500 schools in Ontario, teaching our youth the fundamentals of health and safety, and they bring that knowledge home with them. They talk about it around the dinner table and with their friends and with their parents, and it further perpetuates that message. So reach out and invest in our youth, invest in our youngest workforce, and we will see that health and safety culture flourish more than ever before. Now, health and safety is one of those unique things that the most competitive of companies can agree on and come together and help each other with. It's one of these things that we really try not to compete on. We can all agree that a safe and healthy workplace is what we all want and strive for. We all agree that we have much to learn and we can learn from each other. And we all agree that new advances in technology can help us along the way. And we can also all agree that declaring today as Occupational Health and Safety Day is one more acknowledgement, one more declaration that safety in the workplace, at school, at home, is not just important, but it's critical to our way of life. And we can all agree that the most importantly, every youth, every worker, every person deserves the knowledge and the training to perform their tasks safely and come home at the end of each day to their loved ones. So thank you to the League of Champions and the OGCA for inviting me here today. And thank you for the Ontario government for taking another step in ensuring that our global leader status in health and safety keeps progressing and we never stop striving to do better. Thank you.
Good message, Jason. You know, safety is at the heart, and it should be, of everything we do. And, you know, it's important. And, you know, I love the teach them now, you know, foster culture. I mean, it all does start with the youth. And maybe I'll talk about that a bit later. But now I'd like to introduce Richard Lyall, the president of ResCon, to talk a little bit more about safety and how it affects the world.
Hey, can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay, great. Thank you for having me on, by the way. I really appreciate this. And my background is for mental health purposes. I'm sure it's a place that we'd all like to be if we could get there, especially after this most grueling 15 months that we've had with this plague that we've been dealing with. So health and safety. I can remember when I first set foot on a construction site as a construction worker, because that's my background. That's how I paid my way through school. And then I remember I got to the point where I was in a ditch trying to fix a pipe. Downtown Toronto. I was up to my chest in water. And I thought, I've got a master's degree. Why am I doing this? So I was lucky I had an alternative. But the fact is that when I was young, when I first started, there was no introductory training. There was no orientation. There was no nothing. And the hazards were many and great. I did get injured a number of times. in you know, the early years, probably the first 5 years, and I was lucky. I was really lucky because you know, I recovered from them, but that's not the case for many people. And of course, it made me uh, absolutely aware of the critical requirements of health and safety and training and orientation and all those things. And so, you know, ResCon's always had a very strong commitment to health and safety, and I think we've walked the talk, and we've got wonderful partners. The province of Ontario has shown great leadership in this area. MP McKenna, Minister McNaughton, you know, the Premier and everything. And during COVID, with all of our affiliated groups and organizations, we, I think, have done as good a job as we could, or at least we certainly didn't leave anything to chance from our perspective on addressing the issues. And we did that from day one. And I think many of you know of our commitment and actions in this regard. And of course, you know, we were dealing with COVID and all the things related to that. And plus, you know, let's not forget, we still had other issues to deal with that couldn't be forgotten, absolutely, and improvements. And then we had some other things that came along. And, you know, we put on the first construction industry mental health webinar, and the government's shown great leadership there too, I might add, with Minister Tobolo. And that work, which is
Frozen. Okay, well, I'll pick it up there. I'm sure he'll come back when the internet catches up. You know, I'll say thanks, Richard, in case you don't come back, but hopefully you do. You know, we talked about it. You're right. Oh, you're back now, Richard.
Am I back now?
Yeah, you're back.
I don't know what happened. Where did I leave off? Maybe I was talking about mental health.
Yeah, and you, Minister Tobolo, and then you went.
Okay, okay, great. So, you know, we also in racism, anti-racism, huge problem. It's a safety issue because anyone who's worked on a construction site knows that you want to know that everybody else on that site's got your back. And if they hesitate for a second because they don't like the way you look or the color of your skin or how you sound or something like that, that's bad news, and it's very dangerous. So that's a message that we've been trying to bring. We've set up a roundtable. We're taking meaningful action on this, not just a bunch of new documents and policies and procedures. Those are important to be sure, but it really needs, you know, you need action on the ground. And then going forward, you know, we are still left with a raft of challenges and vaccines, and COVID is a chronic health situation. It's not going away. So we're going to be living with this for some time. So, you know, we fully supported the rapid testing, enhanced PPE. You know, if we need goggles because it's transmitted through the eyes, or they, you know, let's do it, whatever it takes. And then we need to deal with some of those other problems too. But I think we're well on our way to addressing a lot of those things. And again, it's the partnerships we have with the other associations and the unions and the government on this that, I mean, I have not seen any question marks with respect to anyone's commitment to health and safety, and it's absolutely vital. And we've got some further changes to come up to, you know, to still work on, which is, you know, orientation and things like that. On our racism panel, you know, we're focusing on the communications, training and education, workplace practices and policies, and of course, government, because leadership starts from the top. You know, you can't, you gotta show it in a very meaningful way, I think, and everybody appreciates that. And so, you know, we're going to continue along this path, and we're not going to give up. Again, I want to thank, you know, the government and everyone else on this call. You know, you're on this call because you care. This is important. It's not just a job. This is about people's lives and livelihood and their ability to function effectively in society. You know, that is not something that can be left to chance any hour of any day. So thank you.
Excellent. Well, thanks, Richard. You know, you talked about, you know, people on job sites and workplaces got your back. That is so true. It's one of the things in the League of Champions, the jerseys behind me here, everybody signs the name there with a pen, and you sign your name, normally goes on a contract. And it's a simple pledge. You're going to work safe every day. You're going to make sure the person beside you works every day and go home safe at the end of the day, because that's what it's all about. And I think that's what this day is about. Fundamentally, we all want the same thing. It's about that demonstrable leadership. It's to make sure that we all do something. And, I say it a lot, but leaders need to lead. And, I throw it out as a challenge all the time and say, you know what, if you're going to be a leader, then certainly show it, and make a difference. It's kind of important. A few things to sort of wrap it up. And, I want to say things, I'm going to steal a part of a line. You're going to steal it, say it was from Terminator, but it wasn't. The future's not written. And, it's been said by many times and many people, and it's together. I know that we can make a difference by sharing, by active participation, and by leadership. And, we can all shape the future. We talked about it. Rob started off and talked about the next generation, newcomers to Canada, college, university, Indigenous, supporting all the people. Are we bold enough? Well, we need to be bold enough. We're doing this not just for us. We're doing it for future generations. We're doing it for the next round of people. And the best way to do it is lead by example and put yourself out there. And I'm glad that everyone on this call is of the same mind. Hopefully everybody listening is of the same mind. And it's about that message and taking it across the province of Ontario and even Canada and beyond. It's about that whole bigger picture. And I think we can all make that happen. I've heard today from MPP Jane McKenna. Jane, I thank you again for bringing this bill forward. And it was an awesome thing to do. And I'm sure that it crossed party lines and everything get behind it, which is great. And I've been down at Queen's Park and had conversations with all sides of government on lobby days. And, one thing I said is, do we have a problem with safety? And everybody says, nope, no problem with safety. And that's the great platform. It crosses those political lines as it should. The Occupational Health and Safety and Health Day is for everyone in Ontario. And, we have to make sure that it is. This is just the start. And I think in future years, we're going to be able to plan bigger, better things, which is great. Every day should be safety day. Every week should be safety week, and every month should be safety month. I think that goes without saying. However, it takes an increased emphasis from leaders to show that they care. Richard, you said it starts from the top. You're right. Everybody has to show it, and then you've got to create an environment in which to nurture it and let it grow up. And then safety culture is all about that. It's about finding ways to do it. So I think our focus in this process is not wavering. We are going to stay. Every worker deserves to go home safe at the end of every day, period. Stop, start, no discussion. And I think that's something we all need to do. It affects, when we have workplace tragedies and accidents, it affects many people. I had a neighbor growing up. It was a big strapping guy, Brock, and he worked for Hydro, and he was a crane operator, and he had equipment failure one day, and tragically, someone was killed. Brock never went back to work. Brock was a basket case for the rest of his life. It was not good. It affects those around. It affected his family. It affected everything. It destroyed his life and his family's. And they all live with the result of something like that. And we never want to have to be there. Never. And so think about why you're doing it and get involved. I'll put a challenge down. If you're not actively involved in safety, you should be. And let's find the people. There's a 20-70-10 rule. 20% early adopters. Everybody on this call in our thing is an early adopter. 70% sit on the fence. 10% of the negative naysayers. Well, the 20% need to pull off the 70 off the fence, and let's make it happen. So there's 90% pushing for the same thing at the same time. And Jane, was that a hand up to talk, or?
Yeah, first of all, I just want to say something in closing. I know I'm not probably supposed to, but it's okay if I can.
Do it, no worries.
I want to say, first of all, I say to my kids every day, when you work alone, you make progress. When you work together, you make history. And that is so important, because listening to Rob, Craig, Tracey, Tyler, Darryl, Bubba, and Richard, it's all of you people that inspired this bill. So make that, that's very, very evident, right? And so, because you know, I've said this before, I have 4 girls and a son, and my son has his mother's personality and said, you know, Mom, I'm not going to university. I want to, like the girls, I want to go to college. Threw me in the back of a car with the steep T and drove me up to Georgian College. Anyway, he signed himself up. It was the first time I didn't have to go in and get him out of bed every morning because he actually liked what he was doing. And he got his welding, and, you know, he was finished, worked for a fella up north, and then he opened his own business, Mac Barging, at, you know, 2 years ago. He's now 25 years old. So besides that, I have a smile on my face every day. I also worry about it every day. And just because he's got, you know, 3 to 5 employees that work with him all year, even in the ice and the winter, putting welding down into, you know, docks and whatever up north. But I was shocked at how I've gone up a couple of times and how he is so taken on that leadership role of making sure that everybody is safe. I know he had his mother that was very overprotective growing up with everybody, but he's done a phenomenal job. But he does say all the time, he said, you know, Mom, I thank you for doing this, because even though we have to think about it every day, at least this is top of mind, that people are thinking about it. We do have bad actors out there that continue. Tracey, your story gave me goosebumps. I almost started to cry. But we do have people out there that put you in bad situations, right? So, you know, Rob, you saying, you know, we have a responsibility to continue the conversation. You're darn right we do. We need to continue talking, engaging people, and letting everybody know that we're all here to help. All of us on this call have something to offer differently from the next person beside us. And this was an honor and a privilege for me. I know it was short notice, and I was grateful that we even got it through. So very thankful of all the hard work that all of you did to put this together today. I'm just going to go down and vote. But again, thank you. You're all an inspiration on this phone, and I get my strength from people like yourselves. Thank you very, very much.
No, thank you, Jane. And I think we're going to end on that note with that strong finish statement. And thank you to everybody that was involved. Thanks My Safe Work and League of Champions and OGCA and Eastern and ResCon and NORCAT and Alchemist and Cooper Equipment and Jane McKenna. Thank you. Everyone have a safe day, and let's make a difference.